Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Linda Armstrong and our special guest, psychic medium Cheryl Murphy. Today is Friday, August the 30th, 2019. It is 4 p.m. New York time. That's 1 p.m. in Los Angeles and 9 p.m. in London. And let's see if I can do my math. That should be 5 a.m. in Tokyo and 6 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm happy that we have a guest who's tuning in and joining us and having a happy, smiling face, despite the fact that she's dealing with red-hot weather out in California where she is. And I imagine you must be really glad, Cheryl, that you're in air conditioning.
I am. It's the middle of the day. I'm very comfortable, you guys. I'm very good. Thank you.
So even though I kind of jumped the gun, I'm going to let Linda give us a more complete introduction. First of all, Linda, how you doing?
I'm good.
You're good. And Cheryl,
for the show.
Cheryl, it's actually your invitation, so I'm going to let you give the more formal invitation. So why don't you introduce Cheryl, tell us a little bit about her, and then we can just go where we go.
Okay. Well, basically all you need to know is that Cheryl's amazing.
Thank you.
And that, she comes from her heart and she's there for her clients and she taps in and she just helps people. But I'm going to tell you, basically I'm going to read from some of Cheryl's bio. Just so we can give the goods. But really, what I just said is all you need to know. So anyway, Cheryl studied metaphysics for over 20 years, including international studies in Brazil, Germany, and England's prestigious Arthur Findlay College. I know about that one. She has oriented her practice as a spiritual medium towards channeling loved ones who have passed over and psychometry. Psychometry, Cheryl, is when you hold items and you can pick up the energy that's attached to that, right?
Right. Whether it's a metal object or a T-shirt or even a piece of wood, like a piece of furniture, right? You can pick the energy up off of that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So she's a clairvoyant, a healer, and an ordained minister, as well as a certified hypnotherapist and an intuitive facilitator. She's a member of Bob Olson's Best Psychic Directory and the founder of the Healing Prayer Circle, which is really amazing. Now, Cheryl uses her ability as a psychic and a medium to help people make life's important decisions. So as a psychic, she's able to bridge the connection to your spirit guides. And as a medium, of course, she can touch and get, tuned in to your loved ones who've passed. So, she can help you out with anything, whether you have questions about starting a business, where your love life's going, if loved ones on the other side are okay, to receive messages from them, to see how your pets are doing. Really she can just tap into your field and kind of give you some insight into what's going on with you. Because a lot of times, Cheryl, even, I'm an intuitive person, but I can't always tap into my own stuff, It's really good to go to someone who is an expert at this to tap in and help you to see what's going on. So there's going to be, I'm hoping that people actually give us some questions and things to ask. If not, I'm sure Walt and I will have plenty.
Oh, yes. We're good at that.
But it's true. I mean, sometimes we all need help. We all need confirmation or validation, with what we're going through. So I think it is good to have teachers and mentors and people, to go to for that. People you trust, right? People that you rely on. You can really build a good relationship. I think it does make life a little bit easier sometimes.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And especially when, for a lot of people, I'm going to say who are maybe new to this, and the stuff that I bring to LOA today, Walt can tell you, is a little different to how he had been doing things for a long time with, what some of the other hosts do, although I think more of them now everybody on the whole planet is tapping into more of all this opening and awareness of spirituality. But what I wanted to say was, so especially for people who are just kind of tuning in and tapping into things, and sometimes they think they got an answer, but then, either it's the ego mind or there's a conflict and they don't know which voice is the real voice. So that's what the real voice or the correct voice to pay attention to. Right. So I think that's what's really great about being able to connect with someone like Cheryl.
Yeah, and I always want to, in my teaching, because not only do I do private readings and, public demonstrations, but I do mentoring myself, and I try to share with people that, that first voice that comes to us, that's the intuitive voice, that little quiet whisper, that's our intuitive voice, the one to follow. And then if you give it a few seconds, the second voice will come in, and that's the doubting voice, right? The doubting Thomas voice. So that's the ego checking in, saying, "No, you better not do that." Or so just always pay attention to the first voice, the first answer you get. Yeah.
You know what that brings up in my mind too is because like when we're in a high vibration, right? Our energy is high. It's easy to hear that voice that comes from the soul side, right? But then if you allow that ego part and then you start questioning and doubting and you're looking outside yourself as to how other people might do things, you pull yourself away from that, right? And that's the tricky part, especially for people who are awakening and become, they're still walking that tightrope of soul and ego, or what's my truth and what is it that I perceive as my truth because others have given that to me.
Absolutely. And, a lot of times we want to compare ourselves to other people, and then sometimes in the comparing of, well, I'm not good enough, or, they're better, or I'll never get there, that doubt, that kind of keeps us from moving forward. And so I always want to let people know it is about just kind of relaxing into the intuition, letting the flow happen. And everyone is actually very intuitive. Actually, anyone can build their psychic abilities because it's us, naturally. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, right?
Yeah.
I always like that phrase.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say one more thing.
No, go ahead.
Well, when I'll just keep talking.
Well, I'll interrupt when I'm ready. Don't worry.
Okay. Cheryl, so for people who are just opening up to this intuitive aspect of them, what kind of tips can you give them to know, like, what might be coming in from spirit, or how to feel it either in their body or sense or know when information comes?
Yeah, I want to tell people to always, you always want to trust information that's coming in that's of a high vibration. It's high vibration because it's positive, it's supportive, it's loving, it's tender, it's gentle. So anytime you hear any sarcasm or any negativity coming through, that's not you connecting. That's you kind of lowering the vibration. We need to kind of step back up through meditation, through practicing mindfulness, to really learn even what our own energy feels like. Because we want to learn what our own energy feels like as a soul. And then you can open up and feel, your spirit guides step in, or your loved ones. Then you step into the spirit world.
Yeah.
Before the show, we were talking, Cheryl, about how my mother had died.
Yeah.
And my sister organized my sister had been my mother's caregiver for the last year of her life. And she organized the memorial service and so forth. So my brother and I and our other family members all converged on Virginia and had the memorial service last weekend. The following day, we drove out to a lake outside of Roanoke, Virginia called Smith Mountain Lake. Beautiful lake, absolutely gorgeous. It's the lake that my parents had retired to many years ago. And, of course, it was a great recreational lake, so all three of us would go there every single summer. That was our summer vacation. That's how you get away, because you get to go play water sports and so forth. So that was really awesome. And going back to the lake brought back a lot of memories. When my wife and I were driving down there and got within, I would say, 5 or 10 miles of the lake, I mean, we were feeling the imminent of it, like, oh, wow, I remember this section, I remember that section, the lake's around the corner, I know it's coming, and so forth. I got one of my very, very rare, conscious, aware, psychic thoughts come to me. I don't get them very often. My sister is more psychic than I am, but I actually had one, and I knew I had one, which was in and of itself shocking. It was a surprise. And it was my father coming through. Aww. My father was the one who, they both loved the lake, but it was really my father who loved it the most. And it wasn't so much a message as it was a participation. I was really, really aware that he was riding along with us, and he was really excited that we're getting close to the lake. And as we're getting closer, he was grinning ear to ear. Oh, and that was it. There was no words. There were no, here's a message for you from the other side. It was just, I'm riding along, and this is great.
Yeah. And may I ask, Walt, you felt it, right? You felt it. Yeah. And then it feels like you saw it. Then you also saw it in your mind's eye, or even...
Kind of. I've never really been good at visualizing, so I usually don't say that I see it. It's more like I had the impression of it, I guess is the best way to say it.
That's nice. So it feels like you're very clairsentient, where your heart was open. You were, even though you didn't know what was happening in the moment, when it was happening, you identified with it for being your dad. And your dad would be someone like that, wouldn't he? He would be excited about going to the lake like this.
Yeah.
I did feel your mom step in just briefly, at least for right now, and I felt you had a brother. So when you said brother, I'm like, oh, okay, he's great. I got your mom here, And your mom wasn't about struggling through life. I really feel like she was actually kind of an easy goer, right? She was more of an easy person to get along with, because it does feel like your family is really tight, right? Your family's very close, and even animals are in your life, right? You have animals.
Very much, yeah.
So it just feels like mom's here. Dad even feels a little bit older when he passed, may I ask? So dad's older than mom. Yeah.
About 10 and a half years.
Yeah, and there was also some breathing issues. May I just jump in and just say I felt like I have some breathing issues, or hard to breathe, either with mom or dad at the moment, because they're very blended. But I just feel a cough, or, that type of feeling. Can you understand that with them?
I can kind of, here's what I know. My dad suffered from Parkinson's, and what led to his passing was when he became unable to swallow, so he couldn't take in food. So there's a similarity there. And when my mom passed, my mom had an issue with she had cancer and got into the heart connection and so forth. And I don't know exactly how breathing might have tied into that. My sister was there at the time. She could tell me, but I don't really know about that.
Yeah, maybe more with your dad. But, and I know I'll pick up more on them later. I just wanted when they're here,
that's nice.
To kind of jump in and let you know that they're here and they're saying hi. I also heard happy birthday coming. So is there a birthday just right around the corner for you, or August 30th? I feel like something in November, actually.
Well, November would be my dad's birthday.
Okay, very good. So happy birthday.
And my mom just celebrated, or would have celebrated, her 90th birthday this past Tuesday.
Oh, excellent.
She passed one month before that birthday.
Oh, she passed 1 month to the day. Oh, yeah. Well, I know she's we know they're together, right? They're together and just loving you so much, and loving what you do. It does feel like they're loving what you do. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's nice. Yeah. And we have a question, by the way. We have two questions, actually. So we'll take the first one first. This one, I think, is actually from Nasha. I believe this is the name she's writing under now. She's one of our longtime listeners. And she says, I feel really stuck and trapped. I'm trying my best to get out of the box. I want to go abroad and study, and I would love to know about my love life and why I attract the cheaters.
Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, it's Nasha, right? Can you spell?
I think it's Nasha, yeah. She's writing, this person's writing under a different screen name, Majan.
That is Nasha.
It is Nasha, okay, yeah.
I know. So may I take this one? May I just say what I'm feeling with you, Nasha, is that, let's get to the first, I think they're both related, just to let you know, the traveling to Europe and then the love relationship question is actually related, because what's happening, what I'm feeling is that you're holding yourself back, and you're holding yourself back from not moving forward in life. So I feel like this stuckness comes from maybe some old patterns or old habits that you just have. We all have patterns and habits that we want to change, but maybe some you're not even aware of. So it's almost like having the fear of traveling to Europe and going anyway, or stepping into the fear and moving through it. Because as soon as you shift that energy of saying, yes, I can, or yes, I will, or I'm going, what'll happen is the energy around everything else in your life will shift, right? So the energy around loving relationships, the relationship around your friendships will change. They'll either solidify even more, or maybe the friends that are ready to kind of leave you just because they're moving on to other things, that old energy will kind of fall by the wayside. But I do feel new friendships in your life, and I do feel new love coming to you, I want to say, and that it's been a long time for you. So I know you deserve having love in your life. But there's definitely someone coming to you, so don't feel like you have to go out there looking for them, okay?
Good advice. I like especially like that last part. You don't have to go looking.
Yeah, right. Don't go looking, or don't go push. When we push and we create resistance, right? What we push, persists, right? Mm-hmm. And so don't rush that part. If you can just be yourself, be open and loving, do all your dreams and wishes, whatever it is that you want to come true, follow that path, and then everything else kind of falls into place for you. But you're also very intuitive. I feel her being very intuitive, Nasha. Yeah.
Cheryl, I wonder if you can speak to, because I don't know how much you get into the astrology and all that, but this seems like, at least energy, year of huge changes, like big stuff going on. Really letting go of those old programs and patterns and things that we just don't need it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
I sure can, because, guys, the new moon is coming up. It's coming up on the 30th.
Thanks.
Is it today? Sorry, today's the 30th. It's today. Sorry. Time is flying. So the new moon is here. Okay, great. Thank you. I don't know the time when it takes effect, but anyway, thank you for letting me know that. So the new moon is here. It's a perfect time, Nasha, and all of us, to create what we want to create in our life. We want to make a list, and you have to make a list of like 10 items to just what you want to create in the next month. And then write down, I am traveling to Europe. I am heading that direction. I'm getting closer to that goal. That would be one wish. But write down 10 every new moon. It's like having a birthday every month where new moon wishes come through. I do want to say the month of August has it been kind of a turbulent month, maybe a stop and go month for a lot of people. I mean, really kind of intense and emotional. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, for sure.
Intense, emotional, just like waves hitting us, right? Or, just a lot of changing happening this month. And what I'm feeling is that either people are digging down deeper, or they need to dig down deeper into what they want to manifest. So don't be shy about what you want to ask for in life. This is about a time of people just opening up more. And I think that's what's happening, is we're kind of getting tired of the old ways. And so we're all we're digging deeper to create a newer, better life. But it's definitely been, wow, what a month this has been.
Yeah, so I want to ask too then, because I know I've been experiencing intense highs and intense lows.
Yes.
And not too much in the middle. It's like high or low.
It's one or the other.
It has been high and low at the same time even, and on multiple levels with multiple people or multiple situations. I mean, this is kind of an all-in-one month where we're getting it all, So it really has shown itself since like August 1st. So yeah. I'm hoping that is going to subside with Labor Day weekend coming up. But I do want to tell people that the best thing we can do, during this time, or what we can create with this new moon happening, is to hold the light for yourself. We always are thinking about other people and wanting the best for other people. And how we help make that happen is we imagine ourselves in the light. So whether you do it in your meditation or just now imagining, a glow of light in your heart or around you, it is about being in that frequency more often than not.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask too, because I feel like those lows are just part of the new energies coming in and releasing these heavier, denser energies, which doesn't feel good. But I try my best.
We all do.
Because I always want to, just love it, right? Accept it, be with it, love it, and just be okay with it. It's not always that easy, but I feel like at least that's what I do. What do you think about?
Yeah, I everything is holy. Everything is holy. However we want to look at it, everything is a blessing and everything is holy. So if you can, it is both of that happening. I agree with you completely about people opening up, and we're letting go of old systems, old ideas, old economics even. And I absolutely believe it's the planet is also helping us, like Mother Earth is helping us shift. So you might even feel like we have this storm coming into the U.S. near Florida right now. It's out in the Bahamas, but it's almost like there's a big shift happening, and it feels like it comes in and then it leaves, and then all of a sudden in September we feel this happening, this this washing away. So, you might feel a little cleansed in September. You might feel a little bit new, like new ideas start coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
It's great. Yeah.
Now, Joanne actually has two questions for us. The first question was, can you tell, does she have any of her relatives around her right now?
Hi, Joanne. I feel like your dad's around because I did feel a father step in. I don't know if I don't see the chat coming through, but I just felt like, your dad's here. I also felt a younger male with you, Joanne. So I don't know if you have a brother that's crossed over or a contemporary male step through. But I do feel that. And yes, our loved ones are around us. It's kind of like they're our spirit team, actually. I mean, our loved ones, our guides, our angels, they're with us all the time. And they're actually closer, than we think they are. And sometimes when we don't feel them, it's not that they're not around. It's just as if we need to be paying attention to something at hand is what I've experienced. Like, oh, there's something that I need to be doing right now that's, going to take precedent. But no, your loved ones are there. They're still your loved ones. They're still your loved ones on the other side. So yes, they are definitely around. And I want to ask Joanne, I felt a little dog with you step in. So I just want to hear, I don't know if you have a little dog that crossed, but I just feel a little dog step in. Yeah.
So we have a little, how long is this delay?
It's about 20 to 30 seconds. So
okay,
20, 30 seconds. Bad. Yeah. After we ask something, then we get an answer back. And I wanted to follow up with Joanne's second question. She says, I'm having an issue with my roof and getting things ready to sell my house early next year by May. Am I going to find the right person for help?
Yes.
Thank you for that, Linda. That was your opinion on. It did feel like going into selling it into an early spring too, is what I heard. Like early spring it will sell. Yeah. Did you get a yes on that, Linda, for the roofing for Joanne?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, she confirmed she did have a small dog at one time.
Aw. Thank you.
So, okay. Well, hopefully that's helpful to Joanne. Jeffrey has a question. He's saying, do you have any tips on how to maintain our intuitive gifts in everyday life? That's a great question.
That is a great question. I know Linda you have some ideas. I mean, I always suggest grounding every day. I'm like, gosh, we need to ground every day. I mean, sometimes we forget where we are in life or we let things upset us and then, we can snowball, being grounded. It's about having your feet planted on the earth, whether it's through gardening or walking. You can walk your pet, having a nice dinner or a nice meal, putting that energy in the abdomen brings the energy down because a lot of us are in our mental head all the time, right? With computers or, technology, just in business sometimes. So we want to bring that energy down, feel that energy go down your feet and down into the roots of the earth and connecting with Mother Earth. Linda, you have some ideas too of everyday practice.
The grounding one is so important. And I know I forget to do it sometimes. And then I find I'm like I got too many things going on. I get really scattered. I'm like, hold on a second. Wait, I got to go ground because I'm getting pulled out and I want to be pulled back in and connected to that earth. But I was going to say also, like, meditation, not everybody meditates, but if you can just connect, even if it's just, I like to do like these angel love puffs, where a couple of times a day where I just intentionally breathe in the energy of the angels and connect with my higher self, just with my breath for even 3 deep breaths is enough to just keep pulling you back. Mm-hmm. So, whether you're just going, especially out in nature is great. That could be a meditation, right? Or doing a hobby that you love. That could be a meditation. It's just ways of connecting just to yourself with no agenda, right? Just being.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that is also about having gratitude and appreciation. We can practice that every day because even if you're grateful for the littlest things, we take for granted, whether it's the sunshine outside or clean water to drink or, air in my lungs, for example, having food on my table. Those are the things we need to always come back to. There's always something to be grateful for, and that will always get the wheels of favor turning in your direction. So anyone that's feeling stuck or low or, they just can't get going for the day, or they're having problems in their life, sometimes having gratitude or appreciation, writing it down or reminding ourselves, of what's important in your life, then that will absolutely center you and kind of help get you grounded and back into, home base is what I like to call that. Yeah, coming back to home base. Right?
Yeah. And even as easy as whether it's day or night, just looking into the sky or even looking out at the trees, because they're beautiful, right? I mean, it's so easy to find that place of gratitude within, no matter what's going on in your life, right? You can always connect to that and feel that bigness, which helps you to expand your energy and become more of who you are, because you're not this squashed little light, right? We're this bright light, and we lose sight of it sometimes. But that kind of thing, at least for me, I know I'll just go out and I'll just watch the birds or something, and it just lets me see that there's this magnificence and this magic and this beauty out there, far beyond this little problem I might be dealing with, which feels big, but in the big scope. And I love what Cheryl said earlier was everything's a blessing, right?
Yes.
So that's hard to hold when you're going through some hard stuff. But
no kidding, yeah.
If we can find that perspective, and maybe even just going out and feeling that things are a lot bigger than just the space you occupy in your house or whatever, can help you to be like, okay, so there's a purpose for this.
Yeah.
Talk to your higher self. Can you show me how to navigate from here? Or can you give me this in an easier manner, right? Let's have a conversation so we're not just flying by default all the time.
Right. And I absolutely, when I walk outside, sometimes I'll see the wind in the trees, and the tops of the trees swaying a little bit, and I'll tune into that energy. Because anytime we tune into nature, they say that's the highest energy. Is nature is the best way to see God, right? Is to look into nature. It's a very high frequency. Everything is natural. So really connecting with nature, or what Linda was saying, about, being grounded. We want to eat, we want to connect, we want to feel appreciation, we want to take time through the day and look at the stars or the sun or the moon even. I mean, all of these things affect us if we were very mindful. And like you said, that Linda, taking deep breaths is so amazing. It's such a powerful meditation in itself, those 3 deep breaths.
We've got more.
Oh,
go
I'm sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm making notes as we go so I don't forget stuff.
Good stuff. I like that.
Also, another thing, because Jeffrey's question was about intuition, or I forget what the question was exactly. But the thing is, a lot of times people don't notice or acknowledge how intuitive they are. Like when they just were thinking of someone yesterday and they bump into them the next day, right? Or they have, some kind of a thought and somebody else says it. Like, Cheryl, I'm sure you can list a million different ways where this happens every day. And when you notice it, you're like, oh, that was an intuitive hit. Oh, that was an intuitive. Oh, I knew that. Somehow I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. Even in the little things, whether the phone starts ringing in your home and you know who it is before you answer the phone, or the timing, the synchronicity of events that happen in our life lets us know that, yeah, you're in alignment. Seeing the series of numbers on the clock, the digital clock, like 1111, right, which are angel numbers. But all of these, synchronicities, events let us know that, yeah, we're in tune with something higher, a higher vibration, a divine level of love that, is where we naturally actually reside. We are natural beings that reside in that level of love. Yeah.
And we are getting more people who are streaming in here, watching the live stream as we record the podcast. But Jeffrey, Joanne, and Nasha are definitely dominating the question action. So I'm going to go to a couple of their questions. They got some good ones here too. I'm going to go to, let's see. I'm going to go to Nasha's question because this is kind of a follow-up to what she asked earlier, but it also is a great question about how to do exactly what you two ladies were just talking about. She says, oh, yes, and if I may ask, how do I find out what's stopping me? Like you said, maybe something you don't know. How do I get to know what is stopping me to get and walk into the beauty of life?
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a great question.
Yeah.
Linda, do you want to start, or would you like me to?
I mean, my very first thought is go talk to people like me and Cheryl.
Yeah. That's true.
That's a surefire way, right?
That's
the other part, and maybe Cheryl can elaborate on that, is just the things we've been talking about just now, and actually, for some reason, I'm lost in the energy. I don't know where I am right now, but I have to say, talking about that intuitive thing, also notice things that you feel in your body. For, like Cheryl was saying before, you feel a breeze or the temperature changes, or you just have this warm feeling in your heart, or you get goosebumps. Like goosebumps for me, they're like acknowledgement from spirit all the time. Yep, that's a yes. Yes, that's a yes. Like those things too. We all do this all the time, and it's just a matter of, this is LOA Today show, right?
Yeah.
What you focus on expands. So we want to keep acknowledging those intuitive moments that we have so that they can build and grow and build and grow and build and grow. I forget what the question was.
The question was about how do you identify what's stopping you, and how do you get past what's stopping you, and how to appreciate that beauty in life that you guys were talking about.
Well, again, you could feel that in your body too. And I'll tell you one thing you can do is, and I want to hear what Cheryl has to say because this is the Cheryl show. But just grab a piece of paper and just start writing. No agenda. You're just going to let it just write whatever comes in your mind. And maybe it has to do with the block that you're experiencing, and then some random thought comes in, you just write it down. And you just keep writing down because that opens up that channel so your higher self can send the messages through. And then before you know it, I mean, I've had this experience many times where I'm just writing stuff and you can't connect the dots. It doesn't make any sense. But at the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like something's gone. You can do that for yourself.
I also want to tell Joanne, if I can, to ask for signs too, because ask the spirit world, your loved ones, your guides, your angels, to show you a sign.
By the way, that was Nasha who asked that question.
Sorry, Nasha, thank you. To show you a sign, and keep it simple. Whether it might be a rose, or you could hear your name being called. Or you could see a bird's feather, come in front of you, when you're out and about, or maybe you'll find, coins, right? That's another common sign from the spirit world. Yeah. So what we want to do is we ask them for a sign. We're asking them for communication back with us, because they do want to help us. They do want us to go. So we ask for a sign. We send our love out into the world, and we ask, please show me a sign that you're hearing me, that you're listening to me. I'm just asking for validation here. And so then you love it and you release it and let it go and you forget about it. And usually what happens over the next 1 to 3 days, and I've seen it happening quicker now because our world is much quicker. Our consciousness is opening up so much. But within the next 1 to 3 days, that sign will come to you. And we just have to be open and receiving it, right? Because the universe is sending thousands of signs to us every day. And it's really just our awareness or us being open to it and remembering the question. A lot of us forget the question we asked 3 days ago.
No kidding.
Just be open to it, that rose, if we just take a rose, for example, Nasha, it may be a rose that you see in the physical. It may be a rose on someone's T-shirt. You may be introduced to someone named Rose. So we really want to open up that possibilities, the world of possibilities of what Rose could mean. You could even smell roses as you're walking through, an area of a grocery store, for example. So just let you know, like, that could be a sign for you. And then what you want to do when you do receive the sign is you say, yes, I receive that. Thank you. More, please, right? We want to get that communication working. The spirit world is so loving. They are so ready to help you. Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because we're in the information age. And in the information age, we are being inundated by information in the physical world. And we're also, you guys are saying it right here, we're also getting lots and lots of signs, information from the non-physical world. So we're getting it from both sides. And it becomes really easy to miss something when it comes through. So to me, that's like a reminder of, well, if you miss it, give yourself a little break there. You got a lot of stuff coming through that you're processing.
Truly. There's a lot.
You know what, Cheryl, I know there's someone who wanted to make the show. I don't see her on the chat. Her name's Deirdre. She also is a longtime follower, right, Walt, of the show?
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe she goes by Dee Dee Moore.
Right, Dee Dee.
So, since she's not here connected right now, does it matter? Can you still tune into her a little bit?
Yeah, no, I can tune into her.
Okay.
Would you think she would have a question that I can help her with, or
maybe just a general, because I don't know what she wanted to ask you about, but I know she did want to make it, and I don't see her here.
So I'll just tell you what I'm getting around that. So for Dee Dee, is that correct? I'm going to say that.
Dee Dee, yep.
And what I'm feeling with her is that I do feel, Dee Dee, I feel her energy is almost shifting right now as we're talking. And I feel like she's either breaking old habits or kind of breaking off the old path and getting on the new path is what I'm hearing. But there's a lot of healing that's either been happening or she's still in right now. So it does feel like a recent loss or recent grieving with her. But I do want to tell you that what I'm seeing for her is the path ahead of her, because we always want to look to the future now and just see where we're headed. I do feel a path of either growth or a path that's blending more for her. I think something that she'll step in tune for her. But I do want to tell you that I felt a man stepping into her world. So I don't know if she's looking for love or romance, but I felt a man of love interest step in. So I'm hoping that she is open to that.
With the little bit I know, I do believe that she's overcome some major medical experiences. So that could be part of her new road. I think she may be, I don't know if she's completely past that, but I think she had some major healing happen.
Yeah, Nasha just confirmed that she is in the hospital with a high blood pressure issue.
It feels like a mending is happening, and that maybe part of your path is changing, but it's only growing and getting stronger. You know, when something heals, it actually does get stronger and opens up. Even a broken heart sometimes will break open to allow more light in. So just know that whatever's happening for her, it's just allowing more light. But I do feel like Archangel Michael with her right now. So if she is around or she's hearing this, like Archangel Michael is someone also to ask for help. He's such a powerful guide, especially around health concerns, I do want to tell you. So for anyone, very strong. Health concerns or fear, I just want to say that.
Yeah. Jeffrey actually asked a question a little bit back that I didn't want to skip. I just wanted to make sure I got to the other ones, but his question is a really, really good one. As usual, Jeffrey asks questions that cover a lot of territory, and he's making no exception here. He says, I'm curious about action, inspired action, and even no action. How can we be sure which to take?
And I'm sorry, his name again is?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, I thought so. Jeffrey, how can we be sure we know which path to take? How do we know what inspired path looks like, right?
Yeah. Or should we take action at all? I mean, it's really a very broad question.
Yeah. So, Jeffrey, it feels like with you that maybe you've taken some action steps in the past and maybe they didn't work out so well. But I do want to tell you it's always best to take an action step. Now, it is good sometimes to wait, but I honestly never tell people to wait unless that is unless that's what they're feeling also, because I'm not really one to sit around and wait. I think if anything, we would be inspired to do that, and we would not get the inspiration to act, if that makes sense. But I do feel we have to understand, like, what feels good. What feels good? What feels easier, right? What's the easier path to take? So, for example, if you're in a canoe and you're riding down a river stream, I would say the feeling of energy with spirit is like letting go of the paddles, being on a very soft flow, rowing downstream with the canoe. There's no hurry, there's no wave, there's no rocks, no waves. And that's very gentle going down. That's the feeling of the spirit world. It's a natural flow where you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the day. So anything that you resist, like having to paddle upwards, and struggling to paddle, so to speak, that would be a no. That would be a no to the question of your inquiry. So always do what feels better, and then that's your intuition talking. And that hopefully that's your inspiration that you are receiving in return. Yeah. I hope that helps. Yeah.
And Joanne is back with another question. She says her niece Vicky, who has MS, is in the hospital. She says, will they find out what is going on with her neck?
Yeah. What I'm getting for her, for your niece, is that, yes, they absolutely find out what's wrong with the neck. And it definitely, we're all connected. It's all interrelated here. I don't think it's anything completely different from what's already happening with your niece. But I also want to tell you that I'm just hearing right now that there's treatment for it. So I'm hearing that there's treatment for it. So yes. And I know it's been frustrating because I don't think your niece is one to sit still. So it's kind of hard. It's like, sit still and don't do anything. It's like, no, I'm not like that. That's hard.
That's always hard.
Yeah.
Now, Nasha has her sister Wafa with her, and Wafa wants to get married to a guy. She's sitting with Nasha right now, and she really wants to know if the guy is a good choice for her. And as a follow-up, she says she's 44 years old and has been in love with this guy for 2 years. He suddenly showed up after vanishing, and he wants to marry her.
Ah, Linda, I'm going to let you start on this one. Do you want to start on this one, or?
Actually, no.
Okay.
You know why? Because
Pass the bacon.
I just tuned out and I didn't hear the whole thing.
And sometimes, you may know her. So that definitely, if we're really close to people or we know them, then that can.
Yeah. I don't, but somehow I tuned out, so I don't know what that's all about.
Well, that might be part of the answer too, because what I'm actually feeling is that this guy, I'm just hearing a no around it. As soon as I was asked the question, I'm like, no, like, I don't really feel good about saying yes, and I didn't get a yes. So I have to always be honest in what I'm saying. I just feel like there are some things that this person has to work on first to either prove themselves to be in your company, or there are things that you need to address with this person to kind of clear the air to be in good standing, because I just feel like honoring yourself needs to be a priority here, and asking yourself, what am I really being supported and loved and really cherished in this relationship? Because we do want this relationship to be one of nurturing for you, one of support, one of forgiveness, compassion, humility, all of that. We want you to come into this relationship 100% and 100%. So we wouldn't want you to be the only one in this relationship. And it kind of feels like that. It feels like you might be or giving more than your partner. So I just want to tell you that's what I'm picking up is either take time and ask those questions.
Well, It certainly fits with the way the question was phrased, because the guy was there and then he vanished and then he comes back and wants to marry her. I mean, just that without even, I don't have a whole lot of psychic ability that I'm tied into it. Just the question itself seems to imply that. Yeah. So I would definitely want to ask the question internally. If I were Wafa, I want to ask myself, what does he really want? What is it that he's really looking for here? And does it truly match up with what I have in mind?
There's two things I want to see, since we have Cheryl here, to get her to talk about a little bit, and they kind of relate together. So the first thing is divine timing. Like we were talking about taking action, or sometimes you're working on building something, but then it just doesn't seem to go. So we're not getting that open flow of spirit making it easy. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not meant to be, or it's just not the right timing. And then if you just let it go, things will open up. So that's a tricky one. And then the other thing is soul contracts, which could be a whole show in itself.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
That. And the reason that popped in, too, is maybe they're both related, but for some reason it is popping in around my sister, because I just have to trust that and look, I'm already getting emotional.
I know. I feel her close as you just keep talking that, she's a big support. Like she would be with the feathers behind you. That would be her standing right in the middle, supporting you 100% and even 110%. Because I really feel like she went out on a limb for you, because your sister's passed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And was it from an illness? May I just say?
Yeah, it was breast cancer.
Okay.
And it kind of, like, the thing is, like, she was with the cancer for 2 times, and she was always strong, but she passed in a matter of like 8 days. And I just know, because she never wanted to be weak, she never wanted to be seen weak, that it helps me to understand. I know that that's how she had to go, because that's the way it was going to be for her. Here she's gone. Nobody's going to be pitying her and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's like she was 51. So I have to trust that she had a soul contract and she achieved whatever she needed to achieve, and this was part of it, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it's hard to hold on to that.
It's tough. I mean, it's just tough, especially around loss. It's really hard to when we're trying to be, we're human beings who lost a loved one. So we have to honor that part of this world too, and being on this planet and what it means to us. And then hopefully we can, through our open hearts and open minds, feel them around us or feel them close to us. But yes, I do believe that anyone who leaves this planet, and all of us are included, it will be the exact time and the moment to the second that we leave. And I do believe that that is a divine timing of things. And they say, why do people leave so young in life? Why? Well, how can that even be part of it? But there are so many old souls and so many more old souls coming into this planet right now to help all of us that we might, see more, people either coming into the planet or exiting just because everyone's here to raise the consciousness of the vibration. But I do want to tell you that, she is so brave, and I feel like she's teaching you, to have that courage and to stand in front of you and to lead and guide you. So I feel like your sister, Linda, is a guide for you. Do you feel that? Do you feel that she's?
I feel her presence a lot. Sometimes I don't, but I can always tune into her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you tune into her, it's usually someone, 'cause I feel like she's just wanting to help you, and she's excited, she wants you to write a book, just to let you know, like, she's just gung ho, she's like, let's get out there, let's keep going. Let's, break down walls and barriers and just keep going forward. So she is really of high mind or high consciousness, high awareness. So.
Yeah. You're the second psychic who's mentioned to me about writing a book. I don't see it, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
you don't see it yet.
Yeah, you don't see it yet. Good manifestation, Walt. But you don't see it yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Well, that leaves open the possibility. I was just kind of thinking there for a moment while you were talking and working with Linda about what you mentioned earlier about appreciation and gratitude, because really that taps into the whole concept of focusing on stuff that feels good, the high vibration stuff. Mm-hmm. When I got my message from my dad, I was definitely in a very high place. I was feeling really good because I was excited. Both of us, Louise and I, were excited going to the lake. We're going to the lake. This is great. That's the way it felt. And when you're in that high vibration place, that's when you are going to be more receptive to stuff, right?
Absolutely. When you're open to possibilities, and you're open to in your mind, and being high in that high vibration is natural. Being joyful is a natural state for us, and being positive and lifting that vibration, and being in tune with ourselves is really a natural state. And that's why so many people are meditating or, yoga, Tai Chi. Everyone is working on self-awareness right now and, opening up their own consciousness. So it's becoming very natural. So as Linda mentioned earlier, so many empaths are opening up now to their true abilities that they don't even know they're empaths, and that's why Linda and Walt and we're all here is to help people understand that, if you're listening to this channel or if you meditate, you're more than likely very much an empath, someone who is very, very sensitive to the world and their surroundings, very open in the heart. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. It's a natural place for you to be. So, and then you can lead and guide and design your life, accordingly. Yeah.
Jeffrey had a couple of things that he was sharing here, and I wanted to touch on them. He says, I think it's just one I'm going to touch on. He says, having a vision of a kayak in a calm and peaceful cavern, gently spinning, no clear direction of flow.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And if that's what go ahead.
I was going to say earlier, he said, something, yes, thank you. That's how I'm feeling. The flow hasn't opened up.
Right. This is like a follow-up to that comment.
Yeah, I agree. Right. So Jeffrey, how we can help you is to first off breathe, right? We want to go back to home base because we want your canoe to be one of simplicity and to be one of easiness and grace. So it's always coming back to home base, coming back to your center and taking some of those deep breaths, calming down, slowing down, knowing that as we relax more in who we are, the more open our intuition opens up. And then the deeper we get in touch with our breath and our thoughts, when our thoughts align with our breath and our awareness, then we really do tune into the spirit world. So it sounds to me, Jeffrey, that maybe you have a lot of mental energy going on up there, like you're thinking a lot. And there's a lot of people out there that are thinkers, right? And we need thinkers. We need thinkers. We need you. So we need you to figure things out for us and problem solve and manage things. That's a very good quality, a very good trait. But then we also want to balance it out, right, with meditation, relaxation, time for yourself, quietness, easiness, right?
It reminds me of the analogy that Abraham Hicks uses about letting go of the oars.
Letting go of the oars. Yeah.
And that's the slowly turning in with no clear direction to flow. That's exactly what happens right after you let go of the oars.
Wow.
Because you're not actually going anywhere yet. You're still, your previous momentum is slowing and the inertia is taking place. And then it's going to finally, as it's gently turning, it's finally turning itself in the direction of going downstream. And then you start experiencing the downstream. But for that moment, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Oh, I love that. I love that example. And I love letting go of the oars. I mean, it's almost like, let's let go of the oars. It's about letting go, right? Mm-hmm. Letting go and being led by your heart. You know, our world is moving more from an intelligence in the mind or the brain. We're moving more down to the heart intelligence of the world. That's where we're going in 5D or fifth dimension, where we're manifesting from our heart. We're listening from our heart. We're understanding from our heart. We're hearing. We're speaking from the heart, right? And that way when you and I know what truth sounds like, because we get that vibe, we get that rush from it, like, wow, it went right through me. You know, that's that resonance that we're all, stepping into, right? So good for you. Yeah, let go of the oars and let your heart guide you.
You know what that brings up for me too is something I've been tapping into a lot is I think some of the difficulty we're having, some of us, is that we're letting go of that collective group think of how things have to be or the way things should flow or steps that should be taken, and coming into, so you might be, sometimes maybe that stagnation is because you're trying to do it according to what the group think says how it should be done, whereas your heart is like, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't really feel like me, and you need to allow yourself or give yourself permission to do it your way, regardless of how this guru or this expert says it needs to be done, right? We're our own experts. So there's something around that. Maybe, Cheryl, you can see if you get anything about this, where it's more like just really knowing our truth and living from it. No matter what, someone says, no, this is how that's supposed to be done. You can't do it that way. But what do you mean? My heart says I could do it that way.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, I totally try to, or I am working on still, but I am working towards and getting better at not telling myself woulda, shoulda, coulda, right?
Right.
And I try to do that with other people too. I really don't want to present that also to the world. I try to invite people or introduce people to ideas, but to say woulda, shoulda, coulda even to ourselves, it maybe isn't such a great idea anymore because of the power of words and how we can manifest. Because I agree with you, Linda. We are manifesting with our thoughts, our ideas, and, I think maybe that old paradigm of we should have or would have or, something in the past, right? They always say you get frustrated when we start thinking about the past, right? So it's always better, or worried about the future. So it's always better to stay in the present where we are of peace of mind and mindfulness. So really words are so powerful. So please watch what we tell ourselves. Yeah. Be kind.
Now, Joanne has raised another interesting thing here, something that she's experiencing. She says, sometimes I feel like when I'm in a room, I feel like I am invisible. So what's up with that, she asks.
Yeah. Linda, do you want to start this one or?
Well, the way I would like to see it, that it doesn't matter whether everybody else sees you or not, because you see yourself for your truth, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's the way I would like to see that, or the way I like to interpret that, which is a very positive, more inspired, uplifting way to look at it. Because I don't think I don't feel like it's coming from a feeling of being left out or not belonging. I think for me, I don't know, Cheryl, for me, it feels like maybe she's just allowing herself to be no matter what's all around her.
I agree. I agree with that. And also, you sound like, just adding to that, you might be an empath. I would say probably most likely you are, is because you might be picking up on someone else's energy. Because when we're in a room with other people and maybe we feel invisible, sometimes we have to say, is that me or did I just pick up on someone's energy? Because if you were feeling fine just a moment ago before you entered that room, then I would say, it's probably coming from someone else. And then because our hearts are open, we think it's us. But I would ask you to say, is it coming through me? Like, is it mine? Am I feeling like that? Or is it coming to me? And maybe I'm just around someone that's feeling like that. So we always have to kind of check in and ask ourselves, are we feeling intuitively or not? So I agree with that, because when you're vibrating on a higher level and you're open and full of love and you're sending love out into the world, and then you receive that information, it could be your surroundings.
You know what, Cheryl, I love how you brought that up about how you could be picking up on someone else, because a lot of people don't realize that if they're feeling great one minute and then they're not, to look around at what just happened recently. Because I know, even though I know how to manage my energy and all, I could be on the phone with my mom and maybe something's going on for her. Get off the phone. I uplift her and do all that stuff, send her some energy. But then like an hour later, I'm totally drained. I'm like, oh my God, I've taken it all on. Like, because some of us have a program to process everybody else's energy. Mm-hmm. That's a pattern. That's like something you may have taken with you from another past life, to where this is something you do for people, right? But you have to be aware of your own energy. You really don't want to take it in and process it. You just want to send the love, send the love, send the love, send the love.
Yes.
It reminds me of something that Neville Goddard teaches, which is the idea of when you're trying to manifest something, you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is his way of saying you put yourself into the scene. Well, Joanne is describing a scene where she is there, but it's almost like she's watching herself from afar. And so the question I'd ask her is, how do you feel about yourself in that scene? I mean, the way Neville describes it is, if you're trying to manifest something, instead of observing yourself as being part of the scene, you experience the scene. It's the difference between seeing a ladder and walking up and grabbing the ladder and putting your feet on the rungs and climbing the ladder. You become a participant in your own scene that you're imagining. Well, you can do the same thing with answering the question about, why am I ignored in the room? Well, are you ignored? Are you ignoring yourself? Are you paying attention to yourself? Change the focus, and you're probably going to get some different information out of it.
Oh, that's so profound. I love that statement you just said. I love that. It's so profound to take a deep breath in next time. If you ever feel like that, take that next deep breath in. And ask yourself, why am I feeling like that? Why am I feeling like that? Whether it's around me, or maybe my energy is a little bit low, or what can I do to shift that and change that? So I think what's important is to kind of catch yourself too when you're feeling invisible and you don't want to be, catch yourself and see how you can create, sending that energy or that love vibration out, and then see what happens.
Nasha and her sister are still dealing with her sister's issue. Her sister is the one who had the guy who was in her life, went away and came back. And she's still trying to get an answer that fits in her mind anyway, what she should do about the situation. I mean, she's asking basically again, what should I do? Go ahead.
Yeah, because right before you even started talking about that, I wanted to make a point to everybody. Cheryl's way more intuitive than I am, right? She can really, really tap into energy, and I can tap into energy too. I do this all the time. But I always tell the people I work with, and everyone here on this call, no matter what I say, no matter what Cheryl says or anybody else, your truth is your truth. You have to feel what resonates.
Great point.
So as far as the sister goes, what do you feel in your heart? Allow yourself to feel it. And don't judge that answer as to how your mom would think, how your sister would think, how whatever would the guy. Just you gotta feel it. What feels true to you? Feel it with your heart. I would recommend. And see if it's in alignment. There could be pieces of what somebody told you that are true, but then you have to add the rest of it yourself.
That's such a great point, because ultimately that's where the answers are going to come from. I mean, we like to have these conversations with a psychic medium like Cheryl who can tap in so easily to the vibration. And don't sell yourself short, Linda. You're pretty darn good at it too, especially when you whip the cards out. But I mean, I don't know, Cheryl, if you've ever been part of her sessions where she brings the cards out, and I mean, every single one of them is like dead on. It's just amazing.
Yes, I have sat with her meditations and removing blocks, and she has helped me tremendously, Linda. So thank you that. I mean, truly. Yeah.
But the fact is, as much fun and as interesting and as exciting as it is to get this information from people like you said, Linda, the best place to get it is inside, and learning to do that connection inside. I mean, Linda can tell you as well as anyone, Cheryl, how much I've been working on doing exactly that for a few years now and making progress at it. And it, for some of us, it just takes time, takes some practice, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
And not to put a negative on something, but there are fakes out there. There are people who claim to be psychic.
Oh, yeah.
And who maybe aren't really tapping into your true energy. So if you go to someone, you don't want to give all your power to that person. You have to hold your own power and be like, I don't know, what she said, what he said, it really didn't resonate with me. Own that. Okay, that's it. But then you got to find someone good.
Yeah. Well, in my readings with people, sometimes when I'm talking to them, I will help them understand where their power is. And once again, the power is kind of in the decision making, or even the power of saying no to something sometimes can be a powerful statement. But when someone makes a decision, it's a very powerful transformation. But I do try to help people understand their own power, like you said, and understand, oh yeah, that was a good thing that you made that choice. That was good. That did help you out. And to let them know that touching base with your own intuition, your own spirit, your own soul, that's really what we're here. The three of us are here to help you with. And to understand that answers not only come by listening to us, but listening to all of your intuitions drop in, because your intuitive voices are working. So sometimes the messages are in the nonverbal, or they are in a message that may come later to you today too. So just be open to that.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the main reasons I do the podcast, and have been doing it for almost 7 years now, because of how much I learn from it.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, I have grown so much just by having so many wonderful co-hosts and guests like yourself who have taught me so much. And every step of the way, it's almost like I'm chipping away at a little bit more of knowing about myself, a little bit more about understanding my power, a little bit more about really grasping just how powerful a creator I really am.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And, we're not learning to be masters here. We're masters learning. That's why we're here on this planet school we call Earth, because we already know all of this stuff. It's just we're here to help remind each other of it, and to help reach those levels when we find it difficult, like, hey, I'm not feeling so hot today. I need to kind of get up there. Who can I listen to? Who can I talk to? This program is wonderful. It reminds us, hey, that's where I feel better. I feel better on that level of vibration and that awareness, right?
I actually get reminded of it every single day, not just doing the podcast, but literally every single day looking around, because I've totally grasped the idea that we created everything here. And that's it. It's such a mind-boggling idea that it's so easy to just run away from it. Like, well, I can't handle that. How do I possibly come to terms with the fact that I manifested everything that's in my life? But I did. And that's how I remind myself, wow, I really am a master. I just don't realize how much of a master I really am.
Cheryl, I would love for you to come on with us again, and maybe the whole show we can talk about this third dimension and fifth dimensional thing, and how we're popping in and out of it all the time. Absolutely. And how we already know it because, like you just said, we're just a version of ourselves that's already done this before, right? So, and that's a deep understanding for a lot of people. And I'm sure an hour wouldn't even be enough time, but that would be a cool thing. Would you be game to come back for that kind of conversation?
I'd love to do that, because it is really a conversation about, opening up the mind or the idea or the awareness. It's like this expansion, contraction feeling of, let's stretch our minds a little bit. Okay. Let's say, hey, what about this idea? How does that resonate? What if you can manifest and suffering is less in where we're headed to? We're headed to an easier way of living, really. It's really remarkable.
Well, then let's do that. I mean, thank you, Linda, for finding a way to lasso her in and bring her in for a second time. I really like that. So we've got the date. We just have to set what the date is. But we're going to bring Cheryl back, and we're going to do exactly that. It's a great idea. I want to remind people before we go, if you're not yet a subscriber, look at the great content you get every single show. And every one of them is different. So become a subscriber if you are not one. Cheryl, you'll be happy to know that 85% of our listeners we know for a fact are subscribers. So we get a very high level of retention. But the other 10 to 15%, they're the ones I'm talking to right now. We're saying to you, come on, join the team. This is a fun thing that we do every single day, 5 days a week. And it's so simple. Just go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net. The instructions are right at the top for your particular device. And then about 4 or 5 steps later, you are a subscriber. And by the way, also tune in and watch us when we do the live stream as we are recording the podcast every single day, because we live stream it to YouTube. And you can actually follow us on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to our channel. The channel is LOA Today Podcast Videos. And make sure if you do subscribe, click the little bell so you get notified every single time that we're live. And if you don't happen to be around to listen to the live stream, you can always listen to the replay afterward. But whatever you do, subscribe. We want you to be part of the team. And with that thought in mind, Cheryl, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I'm so glad Linda talked you into coming back. We just don't know when that's going to be yet.
Yeah, well, thank you for having
But before we go, Cheryl, tell people how they can contact you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
guys, I do private readings, or I do public demonstrations. I do one-on-ones, whether it's through the phone or Zoom, Skype, so I'm available that way with great technology. But my website is psychicmediumcherylmurphy.net, or .com. So it's psychicmediumcherylmurphy.com. But, a shorter website would be cherylmurphy.net. But once again, there's lots of free information on my website. So I do kind of help you with, provide some free information. So sign up for my newsletter. Yeah. You'll find
you have a newsletter too. That's great.
Newsletter. I have information about how to open up your abilities. There's lots of good things. You can find out where I am, where I'm doing upcoming events.
So you're like Lydia, not only are you a deliberate creator, but you are a deliberate content creator. You're creating content all over the place.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Linda, for bringing her on. It was a great inspiration for you to do that. Keep those inspirations coming, okay?
Yeah, let's do more of it.
This
Absolutely.
was so much fun, you guys. Thank you, Walt and Linda. Just my love. It's always good to see you, my love. So thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you also to our live streamers who joined in and were just spewing the questions at us. We could hardly keep up, but we love all of you too. And thank you especially to all of our podcast listeners, because without you, we wouldn't have a podcast. So thank you so much. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.